Hey guys, Jen here, the Feel Good Life Coach. So I wanted to just do a quick live right now because I've been sort of mulling something over in my head for the last few days as I've been sort of working on my own manifestations and, really just looking at some identity up level stuff. And what I was realizing was like I, for a while, have been thinking that in certain areas of my life where I'm wanting to make changes, where I'm wanting to manifest something different, I kept thinking I was focusing on what I wanted. But what I've realized over the past few days is actually I've been focusing on what I don't want, but thinking that I was focusing on what I do want. So I just thought I would come on here and do this because I think a lot of people probably experience the same thing. So if this resonates for you, I would love for you to drop something in the comments to let me know that, you kind of have experienced this as well. So Abraham Hicks always says that everything you want, there's two sides to it, right? There's the thing you want and the absence of it. So she calls it like picking up a stick, right? So when you pick up a stick, there's two ends to it, right? There's one end and then the other end. So in this case, when you pick up a stick for the thing you want, right? So you're picking up the stick of money, you're picking up the stick of a relationship, you're picking up the stick of whatever, there are two sides to it, right? So there's the side of having money and there's the side of not having money, or having the relationship, not having it, having the, et cetera. So you know what I'm saying? And the thing that's interesting is that a lot of times we think we are focusing on what we want. We're like, yeah, no, like I'm focusing on money. I want money. That's what I'm focusing on. Like I'm affirming it and I'm saying it and I'm paying attention to it every day. But what we're actually doing is focusing on the lack of it. So we think, oh yeah, I'm focusing on money. I'm focusing on the relationship, whatever. But what you're really doing is looking around at what isn't happening or what isn't showing up or what you don't have yet. And you think that you're focusing on the thing you want, right? Because you're like, oh yeah, but I'm thinking about money, right? I'm talking about money. I'm focusing on money. But in that, again, money is just an example, but in that, you're basically doing the opposite and not realizing it. You're actually focusing on the lack of the money, the lack of the relationship, the lack of the thing. So that was what I started to pick up on for myself over the past few days. Like, holy crap, I'm actually thought I was focusing on what I wanted, which I thought, yeah, that's what I'm focusing on. But actually, I'm focusing on the absence of it, right? I'm focusing on the fact that I don't have it yet. And the way I know that this is true, and I'll tell you the example. So I am manifesting a lake house. This is something I've wanted for my entire life. And I'm finally to a place where I feel like it's time for it, right? Like I just feel this deep desire and calling inside that it is time for my lake house. So obviously that is a manifestation that isn't going to happen in 2 seconds, right? Like it's going to take some time. I need to get my beliefs aligned, get everything aligned, like, whatever has to be kind of internally aligned for that to energetically be available to me, right? So matching the vibration of it and I'm moving in that direction, or at least I thought I was. And then what I started to look at and realize is like, actually, no, I'm actually focusing in the opposition of that. So I'm basically looking at the lack of the lake house. And the reason I'm saying this is because I've been thinking about what have my thoughts been over the past few days. And what I noticed was that my thoughts have been more focused on things like, what is it going to take to actually get the lake house, right? So I've been thinking a lot about my credit score. I've been thinking a lot about bank loans. I've been thinking a lot about, things like what do they call them? Like home grants and things for down payment assistance, like first time buyer assistant programs and stuff like that. But really in doing that and sort of focusing on that stuff, what I'm doing is putting energy into the lack of the lake house, right? That's not what I want. What I want is the lake house. How I get it doesn't really matter, right? So that's not the issue. The issue is focusing on what you want, not focusing on what you don't want. So I have been almost in opposition to the lake house that I desire because I'm focusing on all of the things I think I'm going to have to do to get it. And that's a bunch of baloney, right? Because there's never anything you have to do, but there's always action to take. So it's really about getting aligned with the thing you want, knowing what it is, being clear on it, right? Asking for it in a powerful way, and then doing the work to believe that you get to have it, to surrender the outcome, to, act as if it's already true and all that stuff, but from a place of knowing that you get to have it, right? And knowing that this is the thing you desire and that how it comes about doesn't matter. But if you're looking at like the micromanaging of the how and the little just little things that don't actually matter, then you may actually be focusing in opposition of what you want. So that's what I noticed for myself. Like, wow, I've actually been focusing on the lack of the lake house instead of having the lake house, right? So now what I'm doing, instead of thinking about all that other stuff I was just saying, so like the credit score, what am I going to need to do to get a down payment, like all that stuff, I'm not doing that anymore. Now I'm like, no, what I'm going to focus on now is the feeling of getting into that feeling and that energy of that lake house is mine, right? So matching the vibrational frequency of the thing I desire, which is the lake house. So now it's about doing more of that kind of stuff, right? So thinking about, okay, what can I do that would be in support of that direction, right? Instead of in opposition of it. So in support of it would be things like visualization. It would be like looking for lake houses on the Zillow app. It would be setting up an alert on the app so that when a new lake house goes up, it like lets me know that there's one available to check out. Like things like that. That is moving in the direction of what I want. What isn't moving in the direction of what I want is thinking about the how, trying to micromanage the details, figuring out my credit score, figuring out what I need to do to like get myself a loan, etc. That's not up to me, and I don't have to figure that stuff out, right? Move in the direction of what you want, hold the vision of what you want, completely create the vibration internally of what you want, and it's going to show up. And how it does isn't up to you, and you don't have to figure it out, right? So either it's going to show up, or someone's going to give it to you, or something's going to happen, or you're going to get inspired ideas, nudges, actions that lead you to the how of getting the thing. But that won't happen, right? You won't get those inspired ideas, those inspired nudges and actions if you are focusing in opposition of what you want, right? So when you do that, you're in the vibration of I don't have it, which is not matching the vibration of the thing you want. So that was all I wanted to share with you, because this was a huge epiphany for me, a huge realization that I'm now really looking at in all of the areas of things where I'm manifesting right now, and like looking at, am I actually focusing on what I want, or am I putting my attention on the opposite of what I want without even realizing that I'm doing it? So now I'm trying to be more conscious of it and just checking in with myself like, yeah, am I focusing on the right thing, right? Because regardless of if you're focusing on what you want or don't want, you're creating more energy around it. And that's really what matters here. So you don't want to focus on what you don't want, because you're just going to put more energy into it, right? And more of that's going to come to you because you're focusing on it. So you have to remove your focus from it and focus entirely on the thing you actually want. So that was all I wanted to share. And I would love to know if you had any resonance with this, if any of this is like, oh yeah, that's, I realize I've been doing that too, because I think it's a common thing that a lot of us do, and we don't even realize it. Like we really just think we are focusing on the thing we want, but really we're focusing on the lack of it, right? Because we don't have it, and we're looking around and noticing that we don't have it. And if we're doing that, right, if you're noticing that you don't have it, then you're focused in opposition. So that was what I wanted to share. I hope you're having a great week, and I will see you guys soon. Until next time, remember, feeling good is the point and the path.